G'day there, Finru. How you doing? I better just top my pint up because I've just had a wee taste of this beer that I've just kegged, and we'll talk about it. So let's just go and fill it up. Not carbonated yet. Not carbonated yet. So, but very, very tasty, very fresh. And let's get these bubbles going. And there we go. So it's basically just a fresh ale from the keg that I've just kegged today, straight from the fermenter. So it hasn't cleared up yet, but I do know, because I had a wee taste before, that it is very nice. So let's have a wee run through what I've got here. Just talking about this beer. I hope you're all well, by the way, and I hope you're all enjoying your brewing and everything's going well. I've got a mixed story for you today. So she's not all good. So this beer here. So I wanted to make a beer that was kind of like a lager, but I wanted to do an ale. So what I put together was 4 kg of Pilsner malt. This is all Gladfields here in New Zealand. So 4 kg of Pilsner malt, 1 kg of Munich, and 200 grams of wheat. Took a bit getting that out then, didn't it? So 200 grams of wheat. And I used SO5 that I just sprinkled in. I didn't do a starter. I've been having a bit of trouble with my yeast. And I used Fuggles hops, and I used Green Bullet hops. Now, Green Bullet hops, as a lot of people will know, especially in New Zealand, Green Bullet hops, that is the main hop ingredients in the Steinlager beer. And a lot of the time here in Christchurch over the summer, if you could call it a summer, Steinlager was my go-to when I was out of home brew. And I was out of a bit of home brew. I'll tell you a bit about that later, not flash. So I thought, well, if I'm going to make a sort of an ale that's light and refreshing, and hopefully crisp, what I'll do is I'll do that basically a Pilsner malt bill or a lager malt bill. Use SO5 because that's a really nice clean fermenting workhorse, and SO5's, you probably call that in my house yeast. I don't actually use anything else apart from that. I have experimented with other yeasts in the past, and basically it comes back to SO5 all the time. So that's all right. Each to their own. A lot of people think it's boring, but I actually like it. So what I ended up with was this. You see, there's a few bubbles in there, and it's very cloudy. But so I used quite a few hops, and I don't normally. And these hops aren't real out there fruity hops. You got the Fuggles, and you got the clean bittering of Green Bullet hops, and so I put them in, and I used probably just started off a little bit at the front, so it's not too bitter, and as I went towards the flame out, I started adding more and more. Then at flame out, I put quite a few hops in for me, 60 grams I think it was of Green Bullet and 40 grams of Fuggles. So all in all, I think I used around probably 140 grams of hops all up, which is not a lot, but for me it is a lot. So I put it in at flame out because I don't really like to dry hop and all that carry on, and I can smell it's got a bit of grapefruit there. Don't know where that came from. Fuggles and Green Bullet. So let's have a little bit of it. Smells beautiful. Just like one of those beers that you sit down at the bar, you sit and you pick it up and you go, oh, that's nice. You don't have to, it's not a fucking got a juice bomb, a million flavours. I don't know, that's fine, but you don't have to overthink this beer. Actually, this is going to be quite a nice one. I've written the recipe down, it's inside on the computer. But anyway, cheers. And welcome back to my channel. I've been away for a while. Cheers. Yeah. So I'm pleased I didn't overbitter this. The IBUs on this is 35, which I think is fair enough for an ale that you sort of want to have that kind of sort of, I guess, Sprite seed sort of refreshing drink. I don't know what the yeah, so that's really good, and it tastes like it's got the flavors. It's just nice and hoppy, not I can't actually distinguish any. I see a bit of grapefruit there, but it's not. It's just nice and mellow, and flavor. There's a lot of flavor to it. Can I probably a slight bit of pith, um, slight bit of pith dryness, I guess. You know what I mean? Not the dryness of the beer itself, but just the dryness of the pith sort of thing. Fuggles and Green Bullet, yeah, what a nice combination. Never used that combination before. Um, it's got quite a nice colour. That's just a natural colour. It's not. I haven't. I say I've only used two light malts. Um, Really, really good. That's actually I recommend that. I might actually do another video when I brew it again, and that's excellent. Once that carbs up. Even now, that's bloody beautiful beer. Very good. You never know, because I've been trying to experiment and sort of, because I was pretty much with the Panic Attack and the Tired Bastard beers, my pale and my dark, and I basically have two beers, pale and dark, but my pale can be anything it wants, my dark can be anything it wants. So I've got the Tired Bastard, the Panic Attack. This may be the new. Oh, there is grapefruit there. There is definitely grapefruit there. Grapefruit pith. It really is. It's beautiful on the palate. So if I was actually make a beer like this, and probably don't intend to, as a lager, actually usually. Oh, and the other thing I need to say to you too is that I dialed back the fermentation temperatures on this. I started off at I think 17, and took it up to 18, then up to over a few days. But I did end up at 22 degrees again towards the end. So I might play around with those temperatures. Maybe start it off at 17 or 18 next time, and then finish it at about 19 or something, and see how that. It'd be nice to make a sort of an ale that is sort of good for summer drinking, or autumn drinking, or spring drinking. That's not a lager. So there's a thing about lagers. They say I did a lager a few years back and put it in competition. Did very poorly, and because I think it was my first lager, and there's pretty tricky things to do. I would like to have another go at it and put it back in the competition again and see, from what I've learned, how it goes, sort of thing. But I guess at the end of the day, a couple of weeks fermenting with a lager, controlling the temperature, and then take it off the yeast cake, put it in a keg, and then put the keg away off the yeast cake for 3 or 4 weeks would be the way to go. So we'll see what happens. But for all intents and purposes, this ale is beautiful. We're coming into winter now, so we're in autumn, and we actually, excuse me, we're coming into autumn now, so we're actually having some beautiful days here in Christchurch. It's just no wind, blue sky, temperatures are about, I don't know, 17, 18, 19 degrees, maybe 20. Really nice. So cheers. So that's a really good brew, that. I'm really happy with it. So I'm on the up, because I've been down with my brewing, and I'll tell you why. Cheers. It's slightly embarrassing, although I think putting out information about our cock-ups, even though we've been brewing for years, is important for everybody to just say, yeah, we need to stay on track with what we're doing, because it's very easy to become complacent with things like hygiene in the brewing area. So we all know about brewing Um, Getting all our stuff sanitized. We know all about that. We know we do our buckets, fermenting buckets. We do our, everything sanitized. The pump, um, everything is sanitized, and we're good at that. But what about the area that we brew in? Now out here, I have to say it's not flash. This is probably the worst brewing um, environment known to mankind, because my brew, for example, my tap at the back there, this one here, this tap, it doesn't have a tray at the bottom to catch all the beer and if it overflows, it all just goes on the floor, and it's terrible. I mean, there's yeast in there, and it's all over the floor, and then it kind of dries out, and it gets into the air, and it's all around. It's probably all in the rafters. It's all around the place. All this, and then it starts to mutate, right? And not only that, when I've got my, done my sample, for example, there's probably yeast in it. When I put it in, then I do a sample, and I usually just flick it out the door. And if I've got a bit of trouble or something, I just flick it out the door and into the garden or around the back. It's not good, because it just goes into the air and it just sits in the air. And anytime it has an opportunity where the bird drops a bit of chit there and a bit of fruit, from the birds, and it starts to mutate, and the temperatures and everything like that, and it's all around. It's all up here in the rafters. It's all on the floor. It'll be in all the grooves and around all the bottles. They'll be all full of mutated yeast cells, and so that's not good. And I've got away with it for a long time, and I didn't get away with it on my last two brews that I kegged. Very, very unfortunate. I had a red ale and I had a pale ale, and they were both not off that you couldn't drink, but off that they were kind of not right. And I gave one to my neighbour over here, and he said, "Marty," he said, "Finn, I tell you what, it's not your best work. It's drinkable, but there's something going on." He was so right. It was the finishing gravity of that brew. Those two brews were 10.04, which is too low. It's way low. So obviously there's something going on. There's yeast in there that's able to eat up sugars that would normally with SO5 be, I guess, unfermentable, if you know what I mean. Okay, so sometimes wild yeast will actually eat more of some of the unfermentable sugars to an SO4 will be fermentable to a wild yeast. So be careful of that. If you have a beer that goes down under, I might controversy here, but all my beers I brew the same, have the same process all the time, and what was different was normally a brewer like that would finish at 10:11. Well, they were finishing at 10:04, both of them. And I thought, oh, they're okay, and I just didn't click. And I've been saving my yeast, and I've been in here, and this is, I think, where the infection must have come, when I was saving my yeast in here from my last brew and put it in, and I think that a bit of wild yeast must have got in, and then of course I harvested it again the next time, and then it went through into the next beer. So today, what I did, and so they weren't good, and I dumped them. At the end of the day, I said, no, you've got to start again, dump them. And this brew here is beautiful. There's no problem, but it just goes on and on. I broke my hydrometer, didn't I? I freaking dropped the fucker on the floor, on the concrete floor, and it smashed. And that pissed me off, because that's my third, fourth, fifth hydrometer. I might get a hey Baxter. I might get a rubber thumb hydrometer. That would do the trick. Hey Baxter. Baxter's coming to see me. He's been fed. He's all good. He's a naughty boy. Mum's given him about his 100th last warning. Come here. Come say hello to everybody. Come on. Come on. Come on. Up your head. Come on. come on, up. Oi, hey, here he is, the big guy. I'm really happy with him, but he's settling down so much. He's a good dog. He's in beautiful nick. I got him from my son. He was a pig hunting dog, and he'd been all around the South Island, and he's actually quite a. He can be a little bit ferocious, shall we say? Believe it or not, when he's on the job. So it's nice to have him around the house. He won't attack anyone, or he'll greet everyone. But I would imagine that if there was any sort of scuffle or violence or anything like that, he'd be quite a good bit of backup. Yeah. But anyway, we don't like that sort of thing around here, do we? Hey? So so that's that. That's Baxter. Hey boy. So where was I? So that's good. I've cleaned up, and I cleaned the floor. You can go now. Go on. See ya. Bye. Baxter, go. Baxter, go. Oh, he's a good boy. See ya. Bye. Baxter, go. You got to tell him. He's a very good boy. He's very easy to train. I love him. He's great. My wife is not 100% sure. He's coming right in another year time. Fabulous dog. So the beer is great. Everything's good. So I had this massive infection. Dumped 2 kegs of beer. Not flash. Not happy. But what we have to do as brewers, we have to get back on the pony and clean up and do what we have to do. And it's my own fault because the place was in absolute shambles. It's no excuse. I've been crook the last sort of 4 or 5 months. I haven't been functioning very well, and I just let things go, and I paid the price for it because basically, if you don't have the time to keep your brew area clean, don't brew. It's not worth it. If you don't, just don't. Now, cheers. This is probably going to be a long video, so cheers. I've got things to talk about. So now, onto a better subject. So we all sometimes have trouble with our brewing, and we always occasionally, unless you're sort of a pedantic person, and just try and stay pedantic as you can. And I think someone said that. I think it was Gash Slug who said that he used to think that sanitation was the most important thing, but then he realised later on that temperature was the most important thing. And I do agree with that. I think the temperature is a fabulous is the bee's knees. However, if you don't control your temperature, you can still drink the beer. But if you don't sanitize your area and your equipment, you might as well tip it down the fucking drain. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, so that's that. So I'm on the up and up. The floor's clean. You can eat off this floor. Bloody beautiful. So that's really good. My last beer is really good, but all my equipment's beautiful and clean, sanitized. So that's the end of that segment. So let's move on. Hops. I did a short video last week on my hop growing, and I was very happy with it. You guys that follow my channel will know that I've been growing them, and you've seen the thing and the progress. And here's a Fuggles hop. It's a bit old, but you can see in here the not gonna focus. My thumbnails are on focus. So that's beautiful. These hops here are a wee bit old now. They're the last on the vine, and so I had a good crop of hops. They grew really well. I got I think it was nearly half a kilo of hops all up, dried and vacuum packed. So this is what I got. I've got So I've got these 2 packs here. Oh, these are of Fuggles, and they're beautiful hops, and they're going to go really, really well. And there's actually a lot there. They've just been dried and shrunk down, and they'll be stored in the freezer. And I've got this one here. And these are the Cascades, and they are beautiful. They are smelling really, really nice. I'm really looking forward to putting them into a brew. Is it worth it having this much hops from a whole year of growing? Yes, it is, because it's a lot more than you'd think, and I will have probably 2 or 3 really nice homegrown hop brews, and I'll be very happy with them. So that's really good. As I said before, these are the ones that this one here's a good one. And I gave one to my neighbour to smell, and I tell you what, he just put them. Oh, he said, Finn, that smells like one of those fresh hop brews when when they have a wet hop brew at a pub and you go and they put on the hand pull and they do it. And it does. They're just beautiful. They're a beautiful thing, and I think it's worth to do it. I mean, I'm going to actually I'm going to send a couple away to a couple of brew tubers, and so they can have a go at them. And you can just take cuttings off them and grow more and more. So I'll probably grow another, I don't know, 4 plants next year, in pots, and yeah. So it's great. So that's really. Really, cheers. This has gone on. I haven't done a video for about 3 months, so you have to bear with me. Hang on, stay with me here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've had a few new subscribers lately, so thank you so much for coming on board with my channel. It's always very sort of hit and miss, but you're more than welcome to come along for the ride. And to my subscribers and all my mates from around the world that have been subscribed to my channel for a long time, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and it's good that we've built up a bit of a friendship over the years. So yeah, cheers. This is very nice beer. Outstanding. So what have I got here next? Just coming to the end of my I think that's about all I've got to say. Talking about subscribers though, now I have a subscriber by the name of Skid Baxter, and I've mentioned him before, and he's just a subscriber like everyone is a subscriber, and I've got to know people from around the world, but him and I have sort of kind of developed some sort of rapport with each other and friendship, and we're even doing Zoom talks now, which is I just love it. It's absolutely great fun. I've never done that sort of thing before, so here I am, talking to a guy, well, I call him a subscriber, he's a mate, over in America, and just having a beer and chatting. It's freaking awesome. Well, I think I've said before that Skid Baxter is a professional musician and a rocker like no other, and he was kind enough to send me 2 CDs when he was playing in a band called American Dog. Make no mistake about it, this is serious rock and roll. This is the sort of rock and roll that you put on your stereo, you're having a beer, and the air guitar gets plugged in straight away. You just can't help it. You're just giving it that, It's so American Dog. This is the one. This album here in the CD store in my player. So that's the cover. American Dog. Neanderthal. So I've got the artwork's really not. I really like the artwork. I'm into the sort of artwork. See that in Neanderthal there. Beautiful presentation of the CD. Very professional. Well, it's up there. It's as good as anything you'll ever get, and the music is as good as anything you'd ever heard. If you're into rock and roll music, buy CDs, albums. It's as good as anything. There's the front cover. There's the boys. Looking particularly mean. Yeah. I like that. All that beer and the boys ready to rock. lyrics and stuff. Here they are again. Here's the boys in the band. American band. Yeah, American Dog. That's old Skid there.